Hey, they call me the meat man. Y'all to see me eat now. Hit on the meat man. Y'all to see me eat now. I got jaws like a bear trap, a teeth like a razor. I made tack tongue with a sensitive taster. I was born out in Texas, called the land of beef. Never catch a muscle greener, showing the hell like a meat. I'm the meat man. Y'all to see me eat now.
Welcome to the Best Barbecue Show. I'm your host, Yoni Levin. This week we have John Bates, Brandon Martinez, and Warren McDonald of Noble Sandwich Company. They're starting a new barbecue place called Interstellar BBQ. These guys have been in the Austin scene for about 9 years. They make duck pastrami. They make amazing sandwiches, OG pimento cheese, all kinds of Reubens. They've had a Moberg for years before Sonny Moberg was Sonny Moberg. They're classically trained chefs, and they make these epic sandwiches. They've been visited by Triple D, that's diners, drive-ins, and dives with Guy Fieri. So they're on the list for some really great food, and now they're working on barbecue. I hope you guys are having a great week. Enjoy this episode with the guys from Noble Sandwich and soon-to-be Interstellar BBQ. Enjoy. All right, I'm here with John Bates, Brandon Martinez, and Warren McDonald. We're talking about Interstellar BBQ.
Woo, all right.
We're at the Noble Sandwich Company. And tell us about, how did this place get started and how did you end up wanting to cook barbecue, y'all?
Well, I think it all started with a kid and a dream. And it was way back, and we thought that we could change the world with our sandwiches. And go ahead, Johnny, you take that. I was going to go off on a rant there.
You guys do some pretty amazing stuff here.
We changed the world.
we changed the world. Well, man, coming from backgrounds that we came from, a little on the higher end of the cooking spectrum, man, we wanted to do something that not a lot of sandwich shops are doing the hard way, as far as like making everything in house. And we wanted to be something different than what your normal sandwich shop was, and taking it back to a time when actually everything was like old school delis. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think that really sums us up the best way. I mean, we weren't trying to recreate the wheel. We were just trying to take things back to where they're supposed to be, where you actually made your ingredients in house. You actually made your bread. You cured your meats, and that's what allowed those great delis of the up north in Chicago and on the East Coast to stand out and become signature places, is because they created these dishes. And so we were just trying to recreate our little bit here in Austin and kind of pay homage to that old school deli culture.
Well, and for those who aren't in Austin, people may not realize there's not a lot of good sandwiches in the city.
No.
So no, I you know what, I say no. There's Austin is changing though. There's a lot of great things popping up, and I think we were on kind of the forefront of the sandwich jam, bringing something different to the table. But the way the Austin is rolling, man, there's really some great things coming through, and there's some big things, and it's the ebb and flow though, man. There's a lot of great things that are happening in the city, and
but you're still kind of the oasis in the desert.
Yeah. I mean, Brandon will be modest about it. The whole thing for me kind of started. I was standing on my soapbox with my wife at a restaurant eating a sandwich, and I was going on and on about I can make a way better sandwich than this place. It's why the hell don't I open up a sandwich shop? And her response to me was, well, yeah, why don't you open up a sandwich shop? I'm kind of tired of you working 80 hours a week at night. Let's do something that works better for us. And so that's kind of when I got together with Brandon. I was like, hey, let's open up a sandwich shop. Let's make kick-ass food, and let's charge a reasonable price. Let's do it from scratch. Let's do it right, and see if people react to it. And we're pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good run. Johnny and I started off way back in the day. He actually got me my first 2 jobs working in the kitchen, so I hate him for it.
Yeah, I ruined him.
Because 25 years later, we're still at it. But it's been a wild ride, man. And being able to create something from nothing, literally, because when we started this shop, we had no money. We had the blessing with our parents with a little bit of cash flow to help, but it was basically we cut all the tables, we redid the floors, we painted the walls, so there wasn't a right angle in the place, but it had a lot of character when we first opened up, and that's to attest. Now we've grown. We have this shop rocking. We have an airport location on the way here in the next sometime this year, and then we're changing over to doing the Interstellar stuff. But it's been a learning experience and an awesome experience, just having you being around this long, man. When you see a lot of great places that have come and gone, and we're still holding tight.
Well, and if you check your menu, I mean, duck pastrami, you guys do that classic pimento cheese.
Yeah.
I've come here for a few different kinds of Reubens.
Yeah.
Was there a first sandwich? Was there kind of a beginning menu, or did you just go hard right off the bat?
Well, the first sandwich was the duck pastrami. I mean, that was kind of the starting point for the whole menu. It was just something that I wanted to serve, like my coworkers' family meal. And I think that was kind of the other like starting point for me and Brandon. It's like we wanted to make the kind of sandwiches that if we were going to have like our friends over to watch a football game or a birthday party or just to hang out, it's like what would I serve like my peers, my friends? Because when you're in the restaurant industry, all your friends are in the restaurant industry. Like you're not a normal civilian. You don't get to hang out with people in regular hours. So if we're going to bring these people over, what would I make them? I'm not going to serve them lame cold cuts. So what kind of sandwich would I make them? And so we sat down, and with the duck kind of being the first thing that I put down on paper, then we just started talking about like, well, you know, what kind of sandwich would you make if you were doing chicken? You know, let's do this super rad pork sandwich where you just like get down and dirty with like 3 or 4 different types of pork and make it simple and really delicious. And like both of us have Italian like backgrounds in cooking, so the other like big part for us was to take simple ingredients and pair it well. It's, you know, that's kind of like the ethos of like great Italian cooking. It's like don't overdo it. It's like take good ingredients and use it the right way. And I think that was really the starting point.
Absolutely.
And then all the fun happened after that.
Like what?
You know, like working 18 hours a day, building all your tables because you have no money.
Yeah.
You know, dealing with customers that insist that the club sandwich you gave them is not a club sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, all the fun things you find in the restaurant.
I think that was one of the funniest things too. Is that we're obviously we had a poor boy sandwich on the menu at the beginning, and
Oh, God.
the one thing was like they're like, oh, that's not a poor boy sandwich. I was like, well, no, we're not in New Orleans, and it's not a poor boy sandwich. It's our version and take on it. But people were pretty adamant about it, not because we make all of our bread in house. That it wasn't on a French roll. That it's not a poor boy sandwich. It's in the essence of. Well, yeah, wasn't.
This show has become a target for every backyard expert that exists, and it's just funny because I've posted pictures of Wayne Miller cutting brisket, and they're like, "Oh, there's no smoke ring. I'm disappointed." There's just like
that guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. There was a guy on Twitter who posted the other day that he made someone a brisket, and the guy proceeded to scrape all the bark off and tell him how the best brisket is cooked in a crock pot with Sweet Baby Ray's. So you guys know. I mean, you probably served a million sandwiches. The customer might always be right, but that doesn't mean you're going to change anything.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. It's like there's a everybody has their own opinion of the way things done, but very few venture out and actually have the the cojones to step out and do their own thing, man. And that's it. It's like everybody can say, oh, I would do it like this. Well, then, man, go get $100,000, open up a place, and see if it flies.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. We gotta, and that's for and taste is somewhat. Taste is subjective. What one person likes, another person likes, and that's just for everything. And I always tell my customers when they come in, it's like, man, if you don't like something, let me know, man. I spend 15 hours a day in that kitchen, and it's like, if I'm not doing my job, I want to know. But you know what? You may have not gotten the sandwich that's you, but I've got 10 other items on there, and one of them is going to hit and make a home run with you. You just got to let me know if you don't like it out the box, because we can make it right.
Well, and the beauty is that all these kind of the people that want to give 1-star Yelp reviews and all that, it's all kind of dying. It doesn't have the clout that it used to.
Yeah.
So I like that people are looking to shows, or they're looking just at the photos on Google.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Vaughn, the barbecue snob, he just did a class at Texas A&M about kind of restaurant owners and what he looks for, and he talks about how he looks at the pictures way more than he looks at any reviews.
Yeah.
Because if you look at that person that put a 1-star review, they only give 1-star reviews. Like they're just a
Yeah.
sad human being.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and to say for that, it's like it's a lot of times you look at these 1-star reviews, and it's not even about the food; it's about the parking situation,
Right,
or
exactly.
something that's outside of the environment of what the owner of the restaurant can do. But they're still giving them a review because they couldn't get a spot for 30 minutes driving around the parking lot that's full.
It's ridiculous. I mean, every restaurateur can bitch for hours and hours and hours about
For
Yelp.
sure.
But I mean, I've been called un-American. I've been raked over the coals for serving things that we don't serve. It's just amazing. And probably my favorite thing to reference that if I ever had the opportunity to write a memoir, is I was accused of serving a small sandwich to a little guy. And he literally sent us 2 emails went to Facebook and then did a Yelp review, basically saying that when he came in, I sized him up and decided he deserved a small sandwich instead of a normal size sandwich. And to this day, I have no idea who that guy is and why he thought that. But yeah, I was accused of being against little people.
I've had a few sandwiches here that I don't think any of them are small.
Oh.
Yeah, man. I mean,
even the kid sandwiches are huge.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not the smallest guy, and when I come in to eat, I want to be able to be full myself, and so that's kind of what I base everything off of. Is like, if the sandwich will fill me up, then I think the majority of the population will have the same opinion.
Yeah. Well, and you guys have you serve on paper. You have pickled things. You have kind of these nice sides. Did you get this inspiration from other places? Is this kind of just your own brainchild of all the? Because I mean, every little bite is thought about.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and Brandon are really influenced by all of our time in the restaurant industry, all the restaurants we've been to. I mean, all that kind of is what you draw inspiration from. I think for us, the main thing about our restaurant and what we wanted to do was just present something that was authentic to me and Brandon and the way that we like food, the way we like to eat. So yeah, I mean, when you say everything's thought about, it really is. Like, even the order that the ingredients go on the bread is thought about. And if they're not put in the proper order, me and Brandon are not happy about it. Pickles, something very simple for a lot of places, is a big deal. I mean, it's a recipe that I learned from my grandmother. And Brandon came from a cooking family as well. Yeah. So, like, little details matter. And I think it's what adds up to a bigger experience, especially when you're doing something so casual. It's like, with Noble, we were always of the mindset, like, let's just serve really good food and, be humble about it and present it, and people are going to be drawn to it. We don't have to tell them we're both trained chefs and that Brandon worked with Michelin-trained chefs in San Francisco. The food's going to tell that story, especially if you're a foodie or you're a food lover. You're going to roll in and realize, oh, this isn't Subway. This isn't like a Chipotle.
Well, let's go back. What were you cooking in San Francisco? That sounds badass.
Dude, I worked at a couple of different places, man. But the main one that I worked at La Folie with Chef Hubert. I was thinking of Fleur de Lis. I was thinking Fleur de Lis with Chef Hubert Keller, but Chef Roland Passot at was the Frogo. But I worked at La Folie with Chef Roland Passot, and then I worked at Aquarello with Chef Suzette Gresham, and dude, she was a certified badass, man. That lady is a rock star, and she was like 5 foot nothing, but like she would absolutely put you in your place if you did something wrong, and I loved every minute with her, man. She was awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
and I learned a lot. I learned a ton from her, and just I tried. That's and Johnny's got great stories of chefs he's worked with as well, and that's just something. Man, it's like we worked with these great chefs that have done really great things, and that's what we kind of wanted to bring to the sandwich, was like these really great techniques and thoughtfulness, like Johnny said, but put it between two slices of bread and actually make it something where it's like it has the flavor, it has the technique, it has everything that you would find in a higher end fine dining restaurant, but it's approachable. It's a sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, and that was part of the other part of the goal too. Is like, let's take all this time and experience that we had working in fine dining restaurants, where really you're only cooking for like 2% of the market. I mean, just a small group of people that either A, want to spend the money on that or appreciate that style of cooking. So let's take all this technique, all this information that we've compiled, and let's put it in a format that is more approachable. It's like for the other 98%, it's for like the average guy. Like, we don't want just the foodie. I mean, I want the guy who's like next door working on the construction site. I want the average mom and dad and their kids. That was kind of our target group. It's like, we're serving foodie food, but the idea was not to be foodie about it, to talk about ourselves as chefs. It's like, let's just serve badass food and see what happens.
Yeah.
Have you thought about like a deconstructed pastrami sandwich or something where it's like a little amuse-bouche, like one bite?
We've done it at one else, I think. We
do a lot of food events, Austin Food and Wine Festival, other things around town, and quite frankly, most of the dishes we served are just like mini deconstructed versions of what we would serve here in the restaurant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of doing a big, quarter pound or a half pound version of it, it's like, a half ounce of duck pastrami with a little rye cracker and a little smear of, Russian to make it fancy, and some microgreens, and then all of a sudden your sandwich is quote unquote fancy food, and at the end of the day, it's still just a bite of a sandwich.
Yeah, man. So that's been pretty rad, man. It's been pretty rad.
And so, how long has Noble Sandwich been around?
Almost 9 years?
Almost 9 glorious years.
Yeah. Yeah, the better part of a decade, man. We've been running this, and
Yeah.
so that being said, I think that's what led us into maybe the turn of events going into the Interstellar.
Yeah.
Was that a change of mindset, a change of pace, and just like a change of scenery, so to speak, man. As far as like what we've been doing over the last 9 years, is just want to do something else, man. You know, when we never got into this. We never opened this with the intent of this being the only thing that we wanted to do.
For sure.
I know Johnny's got big aspirations and wanting to do other things as well as myself. And I think change is the spice of life. And without change, you're kind of like, you're stuck. And I think making this move is beneficial for all because it gets the fire going again. It gets the juices flowing. And it gets the excitement back, and it gets all those things that that we still have, but just to a greater degree, I would think.
Yeah.
And you guys are OG. I mean, you've been smoking meat forever. You have a Moberg, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was kind of before Sonny became Sonny Moberg.
Oh,
Yeah,
man. I think Sunny has
fortunately-
always been Sunny. It's just the world finally caught on.
Yeah. Finally, somebody discovered what kind of badass work that guy
Yeah,
does.
dude, for real.
But Sonny was a regular at the restaurant. He would bring in his family and the kids, and we became friends.
Yeah.
And so he kind of helped us craft and build this super awesome rig for us for our catering team. And on one side is probably about a 150-gallon rotisserie for roasting whole hogs. And then the other side is a 250-gallon offset stick burner. And we had that built kind of for our catering team. And at that time, Sonny didn't have, a year and a half long list of people wanting to buy badass pits from him. So we were able to talk to him. We were able to go over ideas, and he turned it out in just a couple of months for us. And that was what I think having that offset pit and kind of getting back to the basics of like smoking like that is what kind of got the ball rolling, the spark for what has become the new concept.
Yeah. It's been a little while. We've had Sonny's smoking for like 3 years,
almost
4
4 years now.
And so like just cooking on it, man, is so nice. And yeah, I think that's absolutely right, man. It's like being able to do some small batch. And this thing isn't huge. We can't churn out a whole lot of barbecue on the Sonny pit, but it was enough to like ignite that flame. Like, oh man, we could definitely. I think we could do this at a larger scale, man, and really make something awesome.
And frankly, we've been smoking and barbecuing meat for almost 9 years here at Noble.
Right.
And then both me and Brandon have extensive backgrounds cooking over live fire. My first job was in a steakhouse where, I got suckered into coming in to get a job to make some money, and they threw me in the dish pit. And a few years later, I was running the line and cooking on a live fire, cooking over mesquite.
Was that at Gallagher's?
Yeah, it was at Gallagher's.
Nice, because then he suckered me.
Yeah, I got him into it too.
And then he suckered me into working at Gallagher's.
Pay it forward.
So is this like just a big wood-fired pit, or tell us about kind of what you were cooking on?
So at Gallagher's, I don't know how it is in other steakhouses because I haven't really cooked in many of them, but basically it was a big insulated box, and then we would build the fire in there, and all night long you're constantly feeding your fire, tending your coals, managing where your hot spot is on your grill, and then at the same time you're having to take orders and complete the plates.
Yeah.
So steaks rolling in, for a rare fillet, a medium well ribeye, a black and blue New York strip bone.
Those are always fun.
So you're working over this fire, and the whole time the real trick and the art is kind of like dancing with that fire because you can't lose it. If you lose it in the middle of service, you're host. I mean, you go to an hour-long wait for plates. So that was like the real art. It was like learning how to work a fire all night long. And what's funny about that too is like you're literally burning the fire right over where you're cooking. So you're watching drip grease and grease drip, and it's fun, and challenging.
Oh yeah, we remember we worked at the Republic of Texas, and they had the oak and the mesquite grills.
Yeah, wait, two wood burning grills there.
It was the second suckering job that I got put into.
And you see it. I mean, Austin. When you guys started, Austin wasn't much of a foodie town, and now all of a sudden it just played catch up. And now there's Loro has an open fire. They have that. I don't even know how much it is, but that Infierno Italian hot fire. The Brewers Table's got this crazy open fire pit.
Mm-hmm.
There's all this stuff is all of a sudden in Austin when 10 years ago no one would even thought of it.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
just some tacos and you guys.
Yeah.
And are you seeing kind of these leaps and bounds happening? Like, are you guys excited for, Interstellar sounds like it's going to be a good time.
Well, I mean, I think Austin's changed a lot. I mean, and what I find the most striking about the Austin market is Austin used to be a place where cooks would like learn, and then if they had high aspirations, they would like roll to New York or Chicago, San Francisco. Now, home cooks stay home; they don't leave.
Yeah.
And then the flip side of that is now Austin's attracting people that never would have considered Austin a market before. I mean, hell, you had the Bocuse d'Or winner, the first American ever to win that competition. He's going to open up a restaurant in Austin.
Yeah.
I mean, not in New York, not in Chicago, in Austin, in the middle of Texas. That just says a lot about where it's come.
Yeah,
And
just over the last decade, man, it's been
it's
been
wild.
wild seeing like the going from where it was, and both Johnny and I we're both from Corpus, and so we've been coming to Austin like our whole lives. I used to come here early on in the '90s for shows and different things, and just Little League and All Stars and that kind of stuff, and seeing it come from that, not being from Austin and then moving here officially 10 years ago, but seeing that whole kind of progression has just been wild, especially like you said in the last 10 years when it's really taken off as far as the food scene going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, man, Interstellar is going to be kick-ass.
Well, and you've seen, I mean, I've been saying Texas barbecue's taking over the world, but Texas barbecue is still taking over Texas.
Oh, it absolutely is, man. One of the funniest things we saw, trying to go into Interstellar was a comment on one of them was this person commented that, is the barbecue still a fad? Is that, people open barbecues as a fad? And I thought, my first thought was like, obviously this person is not from Texas because it's a religion. It's a way of life.
For sure.
And Texas barbecue has been, I think since the first Cowboys rolled in with the fire, the barbecue has been a way of life here in Texas. And that's going in was saying like I just thought it was really funny when you mentioned like about like Texas barbecue or barbecue's taking over the world. It's like it's I think people outside of Texas are finally realizing what barbecue can be, but here it's always been what it is, and that's like just awesome smoking, cooking.
Yeah. I mean, it is barbecue. I mean, you can argue back and forth about what barbecue is in other parts of the country, but I mean, I like to take it to the extreme and just say, well, I don't know what they cook over there because that's not barbecue. Barbecue is offset. It's post oak, it's oak, it's brisket. I mean, sometimes it's mesquite, and as far as like Texas kind of like reclaiming its mantle, I mean, you're right. I mean, people in Texas are still kind of like foregoing other styles of barbecue cooking and kind of re-embracing what it was born here. So you see people getting away from rotisserie cookers and getting away from hickory and applewood and just kind of embracing what the region's for. And I think that's says a lot about a region, its culture, and it's a little bit bigger than just food. It's about embracing itself and caring about like where you come from and what you're about, and that you don't have to necessarily be from there in order to embrace that. But I think it's important to realize what Texas is about, and what food in the state is about, and that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Just the way Texas barbecue has come up, it's not like there's been shortcuts created. It's not like it's still the same, watching the fire for 12 hours, taking your time, doing everything by feel, really. Do you think, are you seeing people trying to kind of take shortcuts, or it seems like everyone's kind of honoring the, offset, stick burner?
I think the reason you don't see people taking many shortcuts is they don't last. It's like if you're going to do it, you need to do it right, because Texas, we've had this since Texas was Texas. Like it's everybody knows what barbecue and what good barbecue is supposed to be, and I think if you try to take the shortcuts, people automatically assume like it's a lower tier barbecue, and if you want to get something tough, this is where you go, or something that's not true barbecue.
Yeah, and just if you're going to serve barbecue in the state, people will call you out. I mean, they'll call bullshit on barbecue that's not right.
Yeah.
And considering the current age we live in, where everybody's a food critic, everybody has a platform, everybody has their opportunity to go out there and share their experience with their friends and family. It's a double-edged sword. I mean, it's great if you're killing it and people love what you do, but also in the same token, if you're half-assing it and you're not really putting your heart into the food, you get caught really fast. Yeah. And I think, Interstellar ties into me and Brandon's approach to cooking in the same way with Noble, in the sense that it's not about us reinventing the wheel. It's about us honoring like real cooking traditions and doing things the right way. I mean, we don't cure meats for 5 to 6 days at this restaurant because it's easy. We don't do it that way because it's the most cost-effective way. Hell, I mean, there's sometimes I wonder why we do it the way we do to begin with. If I knew what we were getting ourselves into. But so we're all about like doing things from scratch, slow food, doing it the right way. And if you don't do it the right way, you get caught. Especially when you throw something on, a tag on something like Texas barbecue. I mean, you better know what the hell you're doing.
And it's cool because you guys, you get into names and all this stuff. The name I really like. I love the logo. You had it professionally done. I think that's it's just cool to see. Y'all are seasoned. This isn't your first ball game, and it's cool that you're kind of doubling down on the whole smoked meat thing. Yeah, because you've already been doing it, and it's really I'm excited to see what comes out.
Yeah, man. I think I'm really excited too, man. Like when we started talking about this, and then we were toying around with the idea of like should we or shouldn't we, and we just finally made the jump. It changed something. Like you get excited again. Like I said, we've been doing this for a better part of a decade, and I love making sandwiches. I love talking to people about food, and I love doing all this stuff. But after a decade of doing it, you're like, well, I want to change. I want to do something else. And when we started talking about this, started getting all the cogs rolling in a different direction, and the fire started to burn bright again. And I think it's going to be a fun thing, man. We have some fun stuff that's going to be planned, and I know we're going to be maybe not right at the jump, but there's some special things that I think we can do that that will be fun.
Yeah, I mean, and that's we've been in the restaurant business for a long time.
Yeah.
So our approach when we do anything nowadays is to try to put our best foot forward. I mean, and to take the lessons we've learned, and take the food really, really, really serious. I mean, we don't mess around when it comes to the food, but at the same token, we don't take ourselves too serious.
That's a fact.
We care about food, and we care about people, and so we wanted the restaurants, Interstellar, to reflect that. I mean, we wanted to make it all about the food, and not necessarily about me and Brandon. I mean, we're pretty awesome. I mean,
I agree, 100%.
Don't get better than us too, but we're really trying to make it about the barbecue.
That's it. And I think with the Interstellar name too, man, there's a lot of fun things we could do with that, and really kind of like we take the food seriously, but we can have a lot of fun with everything else.
And I mean, it's Texas. There's a ton of barbecue in the state. There's a ton of barbecue in Austin. If you're going to stand out in that crowd, you need to try to give yourself a name and a little bit of branding that stands out from the pack, and then you better deliver the food. You better deliver the goods, because if you get them in there because they're intrigued by the idea, you certainly don't want them to go over to Yelp and go, I wish I could give this place 0 stars, but it won't let me. I was so excited, and they totally let me down.
But you know what? Then you start taking pictures of the food itself, and the Yelp reviews don't matter.
So, you've got to come with the goods. I mean, create a good idea, make it exciting, make it fun, get people engaged, and then give them some badass food.
Right. I'm excited just talking about it, man. I want to eat some Q now.
So, Warren, you're being pretty quiet over here. Talk to us about... here, take all the mics.
Yeah, take them here, Warren.
Here, take all 3. Get in there.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I can tell you everything that you've heard here today from John and Brandon is the reason why I am here right now. I have worked at too many places that don't care, and and I've quit probably more chefing jobs because everybody around me, they just want to do it the fast, easy way. Everything's frozen, and I just can't live with myself, and I can't stand it when I see something done just not right. And these guys have nailed it every single step of the way. And I remember driving by the restaurant a long time ago, and I thought it was awesome that Noble was open from 3 no, till 7 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. I thought that was genius. It took me 5 trips in order to actually get food at Noble, because either they were closed or there was a line out the door, and I did not want to wait. And so finally, when I got inside, I ordered 5 things off the menu, and I was looking around at the menu, and I saw what was going on, and I said, I finally found guys that think like me, and I want to work here. And so after constant badgering, they finally let me in.
We relented.
And
We adopted him.
I have, I won't go away, and I've had a lot of fun, and I'm surrounded by people that are having a lot of fun at what they do and are really good at it, and that actually care, and that fits my modus operandi exactly. And that's why and I've mentioned a lot of times that at the end of the day, I feel like I owe them money just for letting me hang out and cook and learn with them, because it's been awesome.
So did he just come in and ask for a job?
He just wouldn't go away, because that's
Actually, all of our best employees are the ones that find us. I mean, and all joking aside, really the people that have like stuck around and have like been through the battles with us and have seen the vision are the folks that come to the restaurant and they say, "Hey, are you hiring? I like what you do."
yeah.
You know, when you're hiring, when you give me a call, can I come just hang out with you guys in Stage? And those are the guys, the cats that have, you know, spent the most time with us. Not the cold calls where you're like running an ad trying to get a cook to come work for you. You know, Warren kind of fits that model. He's just somebody who he recognized what we did, he appreciated it, and
Yeah.
and then we adopted him. Yeah, so you know, and I'll send the bill for bringing you on.
Okay, thank you.
And you know, we've had a lot of great people that work for us in the past too. They've gone on to do some really great and cool things, man. And so it's really awesome to see, you know, people now in different positions, and they started off with us, like, you know, helping us make this place, and they've gone on to do other things, man, which is super cool, man. Being a part of their growth and everything, I feel very honored to be part of that.
Well, and that's a mindset that's hard to teach. I mean, there's a lot of old school barbecue places where people have left and they're furious and they'll never speak to them again, and they take it really seriously. But the places that are smart are excited about their staff, excited about, you know, hey, you may not be here forever, but when you leave here, you're going to be kick-ass.
Oh, absolutely, man.
And that's a mindset that'll bring you all kinds of success.
Yeah, I'm always to the thing that if like people that work for us are successful, we'll all be successful, and I really try to stay with that. And you know, sometimes it's a little hard to say the least, you know, with some employees, man. But I always give the benefit of the doubt. A lot of times, and you know, it has come around to bite me in the ass here and there, but for the most part, man, you know, if you love your people, man, they'll love you back, and that's what I try really hard to do in the restaurant.
Well, and what people don't realize is, if you're thinking long term, when you take someone and you make them kick ass, or you help them develop their skills, or you show them off, everyone's going to line up to be that guy next.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be lifted up. Everyone wants to leave better than they came in. And if you're offering that, I mean, it's a problem in all these tech companies. It's a problem in advertising. It's a problem everywhere. And especially, you know, food, there's a lot of old school. There's a lot of people that, you know, they want you to stay forever, and that's just not how it works anymore.
Not in the restaurant industry, anyways. Especially down here in Austin, man, when, you know, everybody's hiring all the time.
Yeah.
I don't see this as a job. I mean, I never have seen this as a job. It has been more of a way of life, and it fits into my personality. And even on my days off, there have been days where I want to come in because it's just fun. And that's why I think it works so well, is because the people that do enjoy it, they work at it like it's their own company. And that's kind of the approach that I take. I kind of think of it as mine, and how would I do it? And it means a lot to work here. And I don't really consider it work. It's just fun.
So are you going to Interstellar? How's the?
Yes.
So is it going to be you three, or are there a few other guys?
Well, I think I'm going to probably be at Noble more often than I am at Interstellar, but I will definitely be going there for some good food.
Yeah, now Brandon's definitely a key part of it. You know, I mean, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us working so damn hard together.
Absolutely, man. It's,
Warren is coming on as one of our guys that's going to be taking care of the pit for us. He is a true diehard barbecue, Texas barbecue aficionado. So, what better position to be in than be out there every day, making it happen. We've got an amazing guy that is basically a lifelong butcher that's going to be joining our team to do all the trimming,
Ray,
sausage making, help us out with that end. So we're really trying to assemble like food professionals, the best people that we know, and then we've got to hire out a few more people and get them on board, and we'll look for folks that have passion more than anything. I'm not terribly interested if you've worked for 1 year or 20 years, but if you're smart and you're passionate about what you do, I can make you a badass cook. That's, finding the fire is the hard thing.
Yeah.
And so tell me more about this butcher. Is he breaking down stuff or?
Tell them all about Ray, man.
Well, Ray, man, I've known Ray for a long time myself. We worked together in the meat department of Whole Foods. It's when I first met him 10 years ago, because when I moved back here from San Francisco, I worked with Johnny for a little bit, and then I wanted to get out of the restaurant industry and do like butchery, learn how to break down meat. And I met Ray, and he ran the Whole Food meat department for a while, but he's been. I think I talked to him the other day. He was cutting meat for almost 25 years, 20 years. He's our age, but he's been in the butchery cut meat since he was 17. And actually working with us is his first time. Is his first job outside of being a butcher, is coming on with us and working here at Noble, man. And he kind of ran the line. He was our kitchen manager down there. But he's really awesome, man. We have videos on our Instagram, I believe we have videos of our Instagram of him, breaking down whole pigs, and because we do a porchetta style whole hog roast, and he's breaking down from the shoulder back and deboning it and doing all that stuff. And if we don't, I'll have to get one on there. I've got a bunch of videos of him doing it on my phone.
I'll come and shoot that whole thing over again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You should come and do it. Like, he's great, man, and he's really he's almost like he's OCD about it. Like he takes a lot of pride in what he does, and just having that kind of experience. We can really, for the smoke part, bring in anything we wanted. And I know, I don't know if we have the room for bringing in whole animals, but I guarantee that if we brought it in, Ray would be able to take it down, and he could do like supermarket cut. He can break it down from the primals to the subs to everything, man.
Yeah. And it's a real pleasure to work with somebody who enjoys their craft the same way we see cooking. He enjoys his craft and meat cutting the same way. Yeah. And so, if I ask him, hey, can you bone out a hog for me from the head down so I can roll it back up and make this awesome, ginormous tube of meat, he's all for it. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Get it in here. And it's good to have him on that team, because he helps us out not only with like breaking down things, but also it gives us a leg up when we're, working on finding the right product. When we want to taste and 5 or 6 different types of brisket and brands of brisket, I can lean on him and say, hey, from a butcher standpoint, tell me about this brisket. Tell me what's going on here. Tell me why this cut is this way and this cut is a different way. And
Absolutely.
He's just got 20 years of knowledge, where having that behind you, really helps.
Yeah. And, for that matter, when we're testing out different things for different applications, man, we'd be like, well, maybe this cut doesn't work, but this cut would absolutely work. And that's really where all of that comes into also, man. It's like, and just, having him on I think it's just going to be a big asset to making this grow, in Interstellar, to do what it needs to do, man.
And the dude can hoss out like 200 pounds of sausage.
He's a badass dude. He really is.
And
Ray, if you ever listen to this, I will never tell you that into your face.
Yeah.
Well, and that's everyone's kind of reinventing. As much as you've seen the same barbecue places in Austin, even half of them have switched to someone else making their sausage, and half of them now make their own sausage.
Yeah.
And sausage is becoming, I have a post from the chili relleno sausage being made at Tejas Chocolate in Houston.
Ooh. Oh, nice.
And 90,000 people viewed it, because it's just this kind of hypnotic spool of meat coming out. But that sausage got so popular that now it went from a special to a regular menu item.
Yeah.
Well, we've got something kind of similar in the works, man, with something that people like. And I just think, man, sausage can be this thing. It can make it whatever you want it nowadays, man. It's like people are going out. I saw a pizza sausage the other day, and hamburger sausage that had bits of tomato and lettuce in it, which I thought was kind of weird.
Okay,
but
that's just weird.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but just like you could take it as far as your creativity will allow you to take it as far as now. And I think with the way that people are trying different things in this day and age, that it could be weird, but someone will be like, well, I want to try it out because it's so weird. Like, it could work. You know, it's like with the lady in Chicago. I don't know if it's Chicago, maybe it's the north, where she's making pickles, but she's putting Red Hots and different types of, like, you know, candy into it. But it's become this big thing. I don't know if anybody's ever seen.
I'm
but
about to write that one down.
Yeah, she's got like a sweet. I think she does like sweet and sours in one, and she'll put.
How about Red Hots with truffles and pheasant?
That's a good one. That's funny. You bring that up. Oh man, that's a blast from the past. But yeah, dude. But it's just like it's nowadays. You know, cooking. You know, everything's online. The platforms are all there, and people can just kind of like, especially restaurateurs, they can go adventurous, and people are a little more welcoming to it than they were, you know, 10 years ago, just because of, you know, what you're doing, you know, being out there and talking to people that are doing some really out there things that people haven't thought about, but like, oh crap, man, that's an idea that I could do and take it and roll with something else.
So, you know, Interstellar is a grandiose name. Are you guys trying to like knock it, you know, go out into space on this stuff? Are you going to do traditional or what?
We're shooting for the stars and Mars and everything beyond, brother.
Are you?
It's funny. I mean, we shoot high. I mean, we really do. We try to do great things, and if you set the bar really high, hopefully you land somewhere close to it.
Yeah.
And with Interstellar, I mean, you know, we want our little fit in a little bit. You know, find our little spot with all these other, you know, badasses in Texas and the stars of Texas barbecue. If we can find a little niche in there, we'd be pretty stoked.
And you know, man, there's you know, and right now Northwest Austin, I think, is dying for good barbecue as far as we're Austin, man. Everything is downtown, east side, south. But as far as like where we're at, located up north, man, there's kind of a barbecue void, I would say, in that part of Austin. And people that live out there, you know, they work downtown, they live out there. They want to have that same barbecue experience that they can go to Franklin or, you know, or La Barbacoa or something like that, but they don't want to make the 45-minute trek back down into it. And so I think that's a good thing too, is trying to just, you know, give the people in Northwest Austin some barbecue love.
Yeah, I mean, Northwest Austin and Cedar Park needs its love too. I mean, there's who knows how many people live out there now, but I mean, everybody who lives in this area wants like that slice of like Austin lifestyle. They just don't want to deal with like living in downtown Austin. They can't afford to live in Hyde Park. They can't afford to live in East Austin. So instead of having people drive an hour to go over to the east side, or, you know, an hour and a half to drive south down to some of the other places, it's like let's cut a few of them off up north and let them have that experience in their backyard instead of having to take the trek. And I mean, we all love to drive to go have barbecue. Hell, I mean, I plan road trips around going to have barbecue.
Absolutely.
But it'd be nice if I didn't have to drive 45 minutes
if I
to
could
get
drive
a good plate of barbecue.
If I could drive 10 minutes instead of 50, yeah, that's always worth it, right?
Well, and I mean, I go to Snows almost every Saturday, so I like the drive, but I grew up in the country, so I have to just get out of the city to clear my head at least once a week.
There you go.
So are you thinking a more traditional menu? Are you guys going to kind of have regular brisket, but maybe some other?
Well, I think we're starting. Go ahead, Johnny.
Well, I mean, with the menu, it's going to be built on traditional building blocks of like great Texas barbecue. I mean, we're going to honor the tradition, but I think like everything we do, even here at Noble, it's like we take food that you recognize and appreciate for what it is, but we always put our own stamp on it. Yeah. You know, so everything we do is going to be unique to us, and that's just when we'll see where that goes. I mean, we're passionate about food. We love what we do, and that's kind of an evolving road. You know, when you cook, it's not the same.
And you know, I really wanted, like, I know when we get this thing going, maybe not immediately, but I mean, I definitely have some ideas to toy around. Like, I grew up, and my dad would always. We would have the barbecue, throw mollejas or sweetbreads on the grill to smoke, man. And I absolutely love barbecued sweetbreads, and they are like so delicious. You can get the crunch on there.
So rad.
And that's kind of something that I, may like be off the jump, but like that one, elote, the corn that we used to get down to Corpus, you smear with like cream and the chile and all that kind of stuff. And that's something that I think we could really make popping as well, and they may just be like Saturday, Sunday one-offs, but there's some things that we could do with this that I think would separate us from the pack, but absolutely bring the goods.
Yeah, early on the menu will be pretty standardized, but early on too, we'll be rolling in what will be our version of daily specials, where we might barbecue some oxtail, we might barbecue some beef shanks.
Those lamb chops you did were
do some lamb. There's so many different options out there. The palette's kind of wide open. I mean, you build it on the building blocks of great Texas barbecue. You bring them in with that trinity of brisket and ribs and sausage, but then you offer them some other cool experiences too. And as long as once you earn their trust, once they know you do the building blocks right, then they'll come in and they'll start trying some of the other options that you have for them.
One of the things that we're going to be doing that I think is going to set us apart from a lot of the, I guess, more spoken about and well-known high-end places is that we're going to pay a lot of attention to the side dishes, and not only the sides, but we're going to do our own pickles. And the potato salad is going to be special. All this is an extension of Noble. We're going to pay a lot of attention to the sides, because I've been to some places where they get their pickles out of jars, and sure, it's all about the meat, but I think having a unique side dishes that you just can't get anywhere else, there's a lot to be said for that, and that's a lot
absolutely.
of things that I look for, and I think that's going to add a element of real specialness to Interstellar.
I mean,
Absolutely.
hell, you're going to work so hard on that meat. You're going to bust your ass making all that beautiful barbecue, and then you're going to melt it in on the sides. Are you kidding
scoop
me?
it out of a bucket.
It's
that's
like
cool.
it's like building a sports car, making the outside like super sexy and super rad, and then you've got like some crappy little Pinto engine in there. It's like, come on, man, finish the job.
Yeah.
Well, and shout out to the Aaron and Patrick Fegis. They just had a baby, but Aaron's known for her sides. In fact, our last episode, Daniel Vaughn talks about how sometimes you take someone, they might not be a vegetarian, but maybe they're just not in the mood, but you want to get barbecue. Sometimes you can make a meal out of just 2 or 3 good sides.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that's one of the things, I don't know, Johnny's wife for many years has been vegetarian, and I think that's one of the things that when we're coming up with sides is, what can she eat when she wants some good barbecue, but still make it tasty, still make it good, and still not leave that person that is going with their significant other, going with somebody that really wants barbecue, but they're just not into it at that moment, or they're just going because they want to eat good barbecue, but still the sides are there and make a statement on it.
Yeah, and you're seeing that, I mean, more and more too. I mean, there's a lot of people that just focus on one item and then kind of meld in on the others, but you're seeing a lot of great places around the state making good sides too. Like when I drive through Brenham, I have to stop at Truth. It's a mandatory stop. And I love the pickles. I love the pickled onions. I love the cake that you get. I mean, no stop there is complete without a slice of that homemade cake. So that is a perfect example of like somebody who's like putting it all out there. They're doing the meat right. They're doing the sides right. And it's a rad stop. I mean, I can't not stop there. So that's, we want to create our version of that, do really good food, unique sides, you create your own little niche, and then hopefully people respond well to it.
Well, and Leonard, the last time I was out there, I was talking to him, and it sounds like they're going to sell. The cake is starting to catch up with the barbecue as far as sales.
Nice.
His mom is working round the clock to make those. I mean, that's a 2-pound slice of cake right there.
It's rad.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And they're that is it corn casserole, whatever that is, that kind of like scooped corn that's baked.
Yeah.
Man, and that's like there's only a few places that do it. Shane Stiles says he's the OG. I haven't done my research yet, but he's happy and proud of that. And it's just interesting to see because there's this playful friendliness. It's like there's very few people in the barbecue world that have bad things to say. There's very few people in the restaurant world that talk down about other places. Like you guys are entering this kind of lovely family, and it's cool to see that you guys have a great attitude about it. I've eaten here a million times. I know the food's good, so I know that the people doing it are badass. But it's cool to see you guys are, you're not worried about competition. You're not worried about anything because you're kind of going into a desert as far as barbecue, but you got your heads on straight, which is so cool because I'm waiting for like more jerks to appear in barbecue, and it doesn't happen.
Well, I think the barbecue's a pretty welcoming community in general, man. I mean, everybody loves barbecue, and you know what? There's everybody's got their own way of doing it, building on the traditional blocks, and that's something too, man. It's like you can always learn from something. You never stop learning, from the guy who's been doing it for 50 years down the road because, you just got yourself a badass smoker. I mean, there's always something to take from somebody else, and I think that's That's really awesome.
And a lot of it just comes down to like just good old fashioned respect.
Yeah.
I mean, I know how hard it is to run a restaurant. I know how hard it is to start a business. And anybody who puts themselves out there like that, I've got
Deserves
tons
some
of respect for.
Absolutely.
And I can only wish the best for them because, I mean, I know what it's like. I mean, it's a kick in the nuts.
To say the least.
Sometimes day after day after day.
Hey.
So when I roll into somebody's establishment, I'm hoping for the best, and I'm always looking for the best from them. And you just see that.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in the business, in the restaurant industry, in the world, in the barbecue world, you begin to realize that it takes a special kind of person to want to do it and want to do it with love.
Yeah.
And so it's just really easy to love those kind of people and get love back in return.
But at the same time too, man, if I'm absolutely about, like, if I'm not doing what I need to do, I'd expect somebody, some of my peers, someone that I look up to, someone that's been in the game to be like, hey man, you're doing great, but this could be tweaked, this could be better, because we're always looking to make the best product, man. And I'm not above being told like, hey man, you're doing good, but like it could be better. And I think coming into that, you have to be a little bit humble with it as well, because there's people in the game that have been doing it 50, 60 years that know, like, us young bucks, I can be like taught and that kind of stuff, man. So I'm all about that as well. Respect gets respect, and love gets love.
Well, and the name's Interstellar. I've been talking a lot about food around the world, borderless food, and just how there's guys. Grant Pinkerton is making like a candied rib. It's a more competition style rib at his barbecue place.
Yeah.
You're seeing people maybe do some Korean spices in their beef ribs. Is there something that you guys are kind of excited to play with? I know you talked about elotes and some of the Mexican style.
I am absolutely excited to try some of that stuff. I know, like I said, we want to stick more traditional and kind of get our bearings and make sure that the foundation is solid, and then build off of that. But yeah, man, I mean, we grew up carne asada and pastor and stuff like that, and I think there's definitely some awesome applications that we could do.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think
And then Italian style stuff. I mean, doing some Italian style barbecue that's Italians are known for barbecue, but we can maybe bring in something to that aspect and do something that could be a homage to the Italians, but like Texas style.
I mean, I think our cooking always reflects like our background and where we've been and what we're about. So I mean, at some point you will always see some kind of like South Texas influence run through our food, whether we're doing brisket with tortillas or we're doing mollecas or all that stuff is just kind of reflective of where we grew up. I mean, Corpus Christi is like it's this town that either you stay there forever and you never get out, or you want to get the hell out. But
but the roots are there, always there.
It leaves a good mark on you when it comes to food, because the appreciation for like good good scratch cooking down there is a big deal. And so I think you'll definitely see some stuff kind of roll through us. I mean, we've always played around with food. I mean, 6 years ago we were doing a brisket sandwich here with kimchi on it. So we don't have a problem like bringing fun flavors to our food and allowing it to evolve. It's just get the ball rolling and see where it rolls.
Well, speaking of, what's the timeline? How long before people can eat Interstellar BBQ? You're doing pop-ups.
That's a good
you said,
question.
right?
Yeah, we have been doing pop-ups. We've kind of put those on a hiatus as we focus on getting the restaurant open. We're looking at opening sometime this winter, late winter, really early spring. But we're hoping to be open, in February is our goal.
Awesome.
Oh, man. So it's coming quick, man. We're working hard on trying to make sure that we kind of hit some goals that we've set for ourselves, and then the sky's the limit after that, right?
The space we're in right now, we're currently doing a minor facelift on it. We've been breaking in and getting to know our new best friend, our new pit that we had built.
Big Merc.
And so we're just kind of getting settled in, but it'll be a pretty quick turnaround. We took the old location, the old Noble. I say the first Noble location up on Ranch Road 620, and we're turning it into the barbecue location. So it's just a matter of doing some minor facelifts and then kind of getting the people lined in and then kick the doors open and see what happens.
So there's a new smoker you're getting built?
No,
It is built.
It is built.
Oh, it's
that's
built.
that's the one we're currently smoking on right now.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, we had the Moberg initially, but then we have like the new. We got a 1,000-gallon smoker the day after Christmas, so it's a good Christmas present.
Yeah.
You said Big Merc?
Yeah. Big Merc.
Big Merc.
Why is it called that?
Well, it's a fun play on kind of what we're all about. The propane tank that Brandon found was this beautiful kind of mercury silver color, and
It fit in really well with
because
the
we like to
Interstellar.
have fun, it became big merc.
Awesome, man. We're gonna murk some barbecue. That's why.
You're gonna put some fins on it, make it look like a rocket ship.
And lower that shit,
thought
man.
about
We'll
it.
put
I thought
some
about
some lifts on it. Get up on 3 wheels.
Are you guys supposed to be open now?
We're getting there. We're getting there. Hold on.
Okay. Well, I only have one last question, which is, I usually talk about our fans, and just the people that listen to, they listen to the show. They're excited about cooking in the backyard. They might be in a kitchen right now cooking. They might be in a pit. I went to 2M Smokehouse yesterday. They were listening to Joe Rogan and a bunch of podcasts. So it's something that people listen to on all levels of food. So what's your message out there to the enthusiasts? They're going to want to check you all out, but like, why is barbecue great? And what's your message to all the enthusiasts who get to hear your story?
For me, it all comes down to love what you do and don't take shortcuts. Then anybody can make kick-ass food. You don't have to be a chef. You don't have to be, a restaurateur like us idiots. Put it out there. Anybody can make badass food. It goes back thousands of years. Just care about what you're doing, man. It'll happen.
Sorry.
Go for it. It won't be that loud.
It won't be that loud.
Yeah, I got this on like super low, so just keep the
'cause
mic
it sounds
close.
loud like we might.
They're like, I can't hear you.
What? So you're taking so for everybody out there, man, it's like love what you do, man, and hopefully it'll come back to you, and that's it, man. It's like I think of all the years we've been in the kitchen, I still love coming in here, man. I love cooking food. I love talking to people about food, and it excites me. And every day I get to come in here and do what I love, and at the end of the day, man, if you could do that, well, hell, you've already won a life.
Care about your craft.
Warren?
That's the biggest deal.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have a lot of staying power because nobody does it like we do it. There are very, very few people, and it's going to reflect in the food, and it already has reflected in the food. Hell, I think Noble's been around for almost 9 years, and there's a reason for that. Anybody can go at it and do it half-ass, and
We want the whole ass.
it reflects in the food.
3/4.
And people are going to see that when they walk into Interstellar and they try everything.
Yeah, and I'm excited. You guys are just another part of the barbecue family, and we'll check in when y'all are open.
Oh,
Thank
dude,
you.
We're gonna set you up with a big old plate, brother. You better
right,
come in
fam, you better
hungry.
get down here.
Come in hungry.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Right.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Hey, they call me the meat man. Y'all see me eat, man. Here I'm the meat man. Y'all see me eat, man. I got jaws like a bear trap.